Hello and welcome to the Wits Yer Top 5 podcast, the podcast that sets out to answer that age-old primary school playground question of what's your top 5. Now, we've been out the studio for a wee while, but we're back and I am buzzing to be joined by none other than the SNP's Deputy Leader for the House of Commons, MP Mhairi Black. How are we?
Cheers. Aye, not bad. Roasting.
I know, far too well, but cooler than London. Cooler
than London, in more ways than one.
Thanks so much for coming in, genuinely. It's a pleasure to have you in. Now, usually I kind of dive straight into like the categories in the top 5, but there's something I kind of just did want to ask. Well documented that when you were elected, you were the youngest MP since I think, like the 1800s, or there's dispute because there's 14-year-olds who way back when. I'm curious to kind of know how you were received, like by your peers, but also like the opposition when you first went, even compared to like now, because we're 8 years down the line. How's that changed?
I think folk understand me a little bit better than they did at the start, because when I first went down, there was a mixture of, confusion about me, patronising, and also there was lots of people who just hated me. just
straight out of the bat.
Like, had never spoken to me, but just really did not like me for whatever reason. So I like to think in the 8 years I've maybe changed some opinions, but I know I think it definitely get better once, like I'd made the maiden speech and was contributing stuff, because I think suddenly folks started to realise, oh God, wait, she's actually,
because quite a lot of your clips and like your maiden speech and anything, they went relatively like viral, if you will. But I think more so like people from Scotland like, class, but also people from down south like, oh wow, like this is very different to what they've had in the past.
I mean, I'll take that.
How was finishing uni after getting elected?
It was mad, because I actually had a politics exam left after I get elected, and I remember walking into the hall and like that, just feeling everybody's eyes on me.
She's cheating.
Exactly. They're pulling their hair out because they're thinking, what am I going to do after uni? And I'm sitting there. I know, like, sorry guys. So it was weird. But
Class. Now, obviously, we said 8 years, so you've done a lot in that time. In the career of an MP, that could be like relatively a long time or a short time. What are your top 5 biggest achievements in your political career?
I would say I was really proud of the private members bill that I did. I mean, it didn't go anywhere. Like most things in Westminster, we did not win. But I was proud of the amount of work that we did, and just the sort of detail that we went into for it. So that would be one. I'm going to say winning 3 elections, so that's me up to 4.
Can't argue with that.
And the last one would probably be not assaulting somebody. No,
biting your tongue.
I think I've done good to, sort of keep my patience and
I can imagine
keep the heat a wee bit. Might not seem it, but
it can be quite pushed to the limit sometimes by
the
certain
mics
people.
do not pick up the amount of heckling and shouting. Like, they don't pick up what gets said. It's really horrible.
Anytime I see it, I just it puts me off like engaging and watching it, because it just seems like it's a lot of people in suits and it's like, I'm like, this is so dated, it feels anyway.
Literally the noises they make are so weird. Like there's part of me that it's kind of second nature, because you get that used to it. But when I stop and think about it, it's still like it was in 2015 when I'm coming in going, what are you saying? And they make this weird noise, right? I'll do it, and it's going to be awkward, right? They go, nye, 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 when they support something. It's when they support so something? Weird.
Because you're not allowed to clap. You're not allowed to clap. Because that was a big thing, because the SNP did one where they a big round of applause, and it was a big thing.
So you're not allowed to clap, but that's the noise that they do when it's like,
when they agree with something.
It's so weird, man.
That's weird.
It's just intense.
The only good bit is like your speaking of the house, the old guy.
Berko.
Oh, duh. That was great. Like, he was great. See when he was like on a like run with it.
He had theatrics. I'll give him that.
He was. Whereas I'm terrible with names. The current one, he just seems so northern and working class. Like, he gives off that is just like come on. Like, he's like, what are you doing?
See, Lindsay Hoyle, I think he doesn't have as good patter as Berko. Berko was good at flinging wee
He understood the assignment.
And he'd be sitting there going, oh, the banter. But that was quite good.
Annoyed. He nailed that there. He nailed that there.
So.
Brilliant. Now, my next question is, obviously, you are the MP for Paisley and Renfrewshire.
Yes.
This one's a bit of a hidden agenda because my other half is from Paisley. She's
no pressure.
I know. So, but I've got her converted her so far to the south side. She is G44 and she talked about potentially moving back to Paisley, whereas I'm not totally against the idea, but south side is. So, top 5 things about Paisley to try and potentially sell it to me to move there.
Oh, that's a now, my top 5 and how I would sell it to you are 2 very different things.
Right, well, you give me your top 5 and then we can maybe go down that road of how you would sell it to me.
So my top 5 are going to sound dead cheesy, but they've got to.
Go for it.
First one would be the people, definitely. Because, like, I mean, just before we started, we were talking about that, how I'm coming up the road for London and see just getting slapped back down to earth. Like, folk aren't afraid to put you in your place.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. So I really think the people.
Do you find if you're out like canvassing or that, that people are very quick to either support you but also let you know that they don't agree with? Do you ever get kind of?
That does happen, but I have to say it's more so. It's more so positive than it is negative, and even when it is negative, usually most folk are all right. You know,
it's like constructive criticism.
No for me, and that's fair enough.
Fair play.
Don't get me wrong, I've had a few absolute roasters, but that can be expected.
Yeah, exactly. I prefer not to speak.
No, so definitely the people would be one. I also think Paisley has a great selection of pubs. So you can go on a really good pub crawl just down the high street right through into Johnston or something. So I'd say that. I would say, what else? I think there's excellent community groups and organisations. Because like one of the frustrating things for us is that, see, particularly when we've got Tories in charge, they're quite happy just to keep cutting things and cutting things. Because their logic is somebody else will pick it up, voluntary, and that's wrong. But it's also I'm glad folk pick it up because otherwise there would just be a.
It's wrong that they're doing, but it's also a bit right because they know people will. Like the people want to pick those things up.
The organisations and stuff are fantastic, and they're doing the work that government should be doing.
Right.
So Paisley and more broadly in Renfrewshire, I think we've got a really good sort of set up for community groups, and there's always a group for something. Yeah. If you know what I mean. So I'd say that's one. What would be my last 2 to sell it? Cheaper house prices.
A lot cheaper.
So there's that. And my last one would be... I can't even say public transport because it's no good.
I always think it's like it gets a bad rep from people out with kind of look down on Paisley, but I think when you strip back the architects, you like the cathedrals and all that, it is beautiful because
that was going to be my last one. Would be the history,
right?
Because particularly because Renfrewshire's kind of in the shadow of Glasgow. It always kind of gets put to the back. But when you really look into it, whether it's workers' rights or business or like that architecture, Paisley's got a really rich history. And I'm ashamed to say it wasn't until I was elected. Like I was finding out stuff and I'm going,
realising about it.
How did I never know that?
Because we are looking at getting married like towards the end of next year, and we're looking at coats.
Oh yeah.
And I'd never even heard of it. I'd been up that way because it's near the uni, and I'd maybe driven past it. But when I started looking at it, this is
stunning.
beautiful.
Absolutely.
And it's not the only one of it. There's
Aye.
like so many.
Because it's
beautiful-
mad that you've got coats sitting there that looking beautiful, and then just 10-minute walk, you've got the Abbey.
Yeah.
So it's mad.
They're all so close together. But as you say, like an afterthought of Glasgow, it wasn't until, I think, 3 days ago that I realised Paisley's an 014 phone number. Like,
Well, not that far removed.
we were driving, there's a van in West Coast, as she would, she was like, oh, company for Paisley. And I went, that's Paisley 0141. She looked at me like, what did you think of it? I was like, I don't know. I know that some places have different area codes, but then I'm listing off. I was like, well, 0141, 0131, it was because of how important they were during that. She was like, no, Paisley's 0141. I was like, all right.
Stop trying to justify it.
I was like, the south side's better. The south side's better. Now, you also mentioned that pubs there, and that leads nicely on to the next category of top 5 people you'd like to go for a pint with.
Oh, right. So I had a
narrow
think
this
about
down.
this,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
I had me and my wife last night sat, and she was going, you can't say that, you can't. And I was like, I'm going to do it.
You can
I'm doing
say
it.
whoever you want.
So my 5 people, right, they're going to be a wide variety here.
Exactly.
First one I'll get slagged for, but it would be Bono. I'm a big U2 fan. I think, I know a lot of folk don't like him. I find him fascinating.
He's an interesting fellow.
I'd love to go for a pint with him.
You pick up the bill hopefully as well.
Too right. No, it's definitely. So I would say Bono. I would say my next one would be Gemma Collins, right? Purely because there are times where she makes me howl with laughter, right? Just because she's so chaotic.
She's so quotable. See that series of when she was in Celebrity Big Brother?
Yeah.
Is unbelievable. It's used in like daily life. Like other programmes quote that.
One of my most used pictures is Gemma Collins with the wee pony. So it would be her mainly because, well, partly because I think it would be a laugh.
Yeah.
But I also want to figure out whether she's the kind of person that I could go in small doses, or whether I'd be like, oh no, you're too much, I need to go.
So it's more,
so
your curiosity more than wanting to actually spend time with
And I
it.
would also like to see Gemma Collins talk to Bono and how he would
and just
cope
watch
with
that back.
Watch that interaction.
Now, this is a series of Come Dine With Me, if you've ever seen one, by the way.
Yes. So there would be that. I would also fling in Lemmy, just for, again, for the weirdness. Now, I'm aware that Lemmy's actually sober, so really I would want to invite him to watch me drink. And I'm sure he would love that.
Then he can go on stream and talk about it.
Yes. So I would invite Lemmy. Who else did I think? Oh, I'd quite like to have a drink with Aisling B. She's a comedian.
Oh, I know who you're talking about, sorry.
I think she just looks great fun to be around. So I'd love to go for a drink with her. And the last one, because I'm picturing us all around this one table, right? The last one would be my mum, purely because if I get her on the rosé, it would be a hilarious mix.
Her and Gemma Collins.
Just seeing, like, my mum would have her signed up to college. We'll get you, don't you worry. We're going.
Bono's glasses on.
Exactly.
What pub in Paisley would you, if you were taking them to, what pub in Paisley would you take them to?
What pub would I go to? Oh no, it would need to be a crawl. You can't narrow it down just to one. I'd start in the wee house. It's just in the high street. And then slowly move our way through into Johnston, depending on how good the chat was.
Losing people along the way.
Yeah.
Ends up just you and your mum.
Yeah, pretty much. That would be a successful night.
That's class. Now, obviously, kind of flipping back to your political career, obviously we kind of discussed like political achievements, but there also has been some failings or there's things you would maybe want to change. Now, we could probably go into a wee bit more depth on this one, but top 5 things you'd possibly change about your political career, and that can be results, obviously you wish that had gone ahead, but or more decisions maybe that you made, you think, looking back on in your 8 years, you could go, oh, I wish I'd maybe done that differently.
I think in the first instance, I would say, I think I should have been maybe more confident in myself. at the very beginning at least.
Yeah.
Because certainly at the start I was trying to, you know, say yes to as many things as possible, but realistically you can't do that. Like, there's not enough hours in the day for it. So like, I remember it took us as an office, it took us about like 8 months to get through all of the things that I'd agreed to the first week that I was elected. Like, it was insane. Right. So I would have done that differently. Yeah. I would have broken it down a little bit better. So that's definitely one of them. And another thing that I would have done differently is I'd have worn my jeans a lot sooner. Really. Because I had this thing, like, coming into it, knowing that I'm dead young and that everybody's waiting on me to mess up and all the rest of it. I could just hear my mum's voice, funnily enough, going, get that ironed. Get yourself, get a suit on, get a suit on. Smart shoes, smart. And, like, so I did all that, thinking I should do, this is what you're supposed to do. And then started to very quickly realise, not be comfortable, just be yourself.
Because I think that resonates with a lot of people. Not that it didn't at the start, because you were young, and I think people were very interested in you anyway, so they weren't kind of, but obviously the more you grow into it, the more you relax. And that definitely comes across. Totally. Definitely.
Aye. So I would probably hopefully do that a bit quicker. And not all the other things I can think of are somebody else's fault. So, they're probably they're probably my two. I'd probably go with them.
And then I'm assuming then it would be more focused on, like, results wise. You would obviously have hoped.
I'd change the entire system.
Yeah.
Like, everything from where the parliament is to how it works to how we vote, what the setup is. I'd knock it all down and start from scratch.
Because it does, like, I've got mates that are very it's that difficult into politics. They're just very clued up. They have a kind of wide spectrum of where they are, and I sometimes get in conversations with them and I'm a bit, like, lost. Like, I look at it from what will benefit me and those around me in a good way, and not in a selfish way, and like, what can help everyone. But I just feel like it's just a shit show now. Like, and it has been for a long time. And things come out in the news, like Boris Johnson, it was announced that he would have been suspended, but he's not an MP anymore, so he can't do anything. I feel there's no accountability. There's very limited accountability. And it's just a gotcha moment with interviews. Like, I don't feel like when people are getting it, or MPs are getting interviewed, they're getting interviewed to give good news. It's so interviewers can be like, oh, we've tripped him up. We've got you there. And then that's all the media talk about. It's just all negative.
See, the best person that I think definitely media-wise and doing interviews is James O'Brien. I think he's fantastic at it, because he doesn't always just go into that gotcha, but he holds people accountable. And it's a fine balance, but I would agree with you. I don't think they get it right a lot of the time.
Because, as you say, it's with James O'Brien specifically, it isn't gotcha, but you've said this, so let's elaborate on what you said there. You can't just throw, and he does it with guests when they phone in, they make these off the cuff, very racist remarks, and he's like, well, I'm going to now hold you accountable for that. Let's not to trip you up, but do you actually mean what you're saying?
Absolutely. That's what's needed, I think, more 100%. Than the sort of gotcha stuff.
Have you been interviewed by him before?
No, I'm raging, because Stephen, the group leader, has, and so's Amy Callahan, and I'm like, I was your OG fan. Like, I've been listening to you for years, James.
Just phone in one day in the talk show. Just tell them you're going to say something really Brexity, and they'll put you through, and it'll be no problem at all.
No, because then the minute I get through, I'll be starstruck, and I'll be like, hey, James.
Hi, James.
Do you want to come for a pint with me and Bono?
Hi. Mum, sorry, you're not invited. James is coming now.
Mum's getting papped.
Now, last category. I left this up to you. Top 5 guest choice. So, your top 5 is something that, anything at all.
Top 5 crisps.
Oh,
right.
Now we could be here for half an hour discussing this.
So I'm one of these people that thinks the cheaper the crisp, the better it is. right? See your hand-cooked, salt and cracked pepper kettle chips? Nah.
In the bin.
Don't want it. I want cheap, nasty bikers. I want Johnny's spicy rings. I want stuff like that. It skips, you know.
Oh, yeah, the best.
So my 5 crisps would definitely be Johnny's onion rings, Sensations, the Thai sweet chilli ones.
Goated.
Doritos. Any Dorito except the blue packet.
I see. I'm not. I don't mind the cool too much.
Nah.
I just like crisps. To be honest, if they're in my cupboard, they're just sound.
Next one. Oh, roast chicken. I like that. That's my exotic flavour. Is Walker's roast chicken.
Exotic flavour.
Your good old trusty ready salted.
Just ready salted.
Oh, I could.
Very underrated. People slag me for just a pack of Walker's ready salted.
Oh, aye.
Banging.
Sometimes you just need a wee bit of salt, you know.
Tell you what are great crisps, right? Mm-hmm. See Aldi. Mm-hmm. It's just like Aldi's own brand, right? But they're like Ridge Cut, sea salted crisps, big bag of them.
Like when you go on holiday.
Well, they're like greasy,
yes.
Like big bag of Lay's, like unbelievable.
That's holiday crisps, isn't it? Definitely.
And I get slagged again for this off folk in my work and that because it's my wee fact I tell people. All crisps go out of date on a Saturday.
Do you know, I know that because my auntie Katrina told me that when I was about 6, and ever since then I've always
looked and you always check. I used to work in a shop, and it was like
she's right.
Every day. And see when you tell people who don't know it, they always doubt you and always have to look. They will not believe it. It's like one of those. No one will take it on face value. They're like, this is bullshit until I read it.
Solidarity, there, mate. Yep.
I'm really glad you knew that and backed me up. So obviously we've gone through those categories, but now this is the difficult part that everyone struggles with. They think this will be the easy one, but it's to now pick one from each category to create your ultimate top 5. So we'll start off with, I think I probably know the answer, but political achievement.
I'll say one of the elections.
Yeah, first one.
that's an easy one. The first one.
Oh,
first
one of the elections. Favourite thing about Paisley?
People, definitely.
I'm going to leave one to the end. Thing you change about your political career?
I'd say getting into my jeans earlier. Go for comfort.
Comfort, absolutely.
Yep.
Pick a favourite flavour of crisps. This generally happens. There's one category with every guest. They rattle off and then they're like, it's like Sophie's choice.
No, I'm going to go Johnny's spicy rings.
Nice.
Aye,
solid choice. Yep. And the number one person you'd like to go for a pint with. And you never know, they might listen to this or see this and it could happen. So.
Well, to begin with, sorry mum, you're gone. I'll see you the week after. So mum's bumped. See, because on the one hand, I would love to go for the pint with Bono, but I have met him before, whereas I've not met Gemma Collins. And that could be a laugh. I'm going to go Gemma Collins.
I'm claustrophobic, Darren. I'm going to be watching clips of her now after this. I'll be tagging her in it and hopefully
she'll be me. Gemma Collins.
Unreal.
We'll go with that.
Unreal. And if you don't mind, I would love to come along for it. If that night out ever happens, I'll be there. I'm
pretty sure it'll turn into chaos no matter what happens. So.
Then we'll have, there's some good pub crawls on the south side, so we'll get these over there as well.
That's it. We'll just do a long extension of the west coast.
Through Crookston, over right into the south side.
That's what we'll do.
Perfect. Well, we rattled through them. It was a really easy, fun chat. I think you're exactly the type of person that I personally want representing this country.
Oh, thank you.
Generally, most of my mates are like, I would say, left-leaning, support independence, but a lot of my mates don't. But every single one of them, when I said that, when you were coming on, they were like, "That's class!" Like they were all buzzing. A couple of my mates are very. Do not like the SNP. I'm putting that politely. Yep. We all did agree that having you on would be good, and absolutely that. I know it's been relatively short, but thank you so much for coming in. It's just, this podcast is just to get to know people and shoot the shit, and it's been great. Like, thank you so much for coming on.
I've enjoyed it.
Thank you so much for coming on.
You.
Thank you everyone for listening and watching. If you could subscribe, share, like, follow, all the above, and thanks so much, and we'll be back soon. Cheers.